The reason why your agency isn't scaling every single month is not because you don't know how to get traffic and not because you're good at chatting. The reason why is because you're not consistently signing top level talent and top level models to your agency. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how to master client acquisition and why it's the most important thing for growth in your agency. So the biggest problem that I see with agency owners is not about getting one successful client, getting two successful clients or three successful clients. It's about actually consistently signing top level clients month on month. You being able to drive traffic on one model or drive traffic on another model is great, but the problem is that you are directly tied to the level of clients that you're working with and also the level of service that you offer and you provide. If you're actually good at traffic, you understand branding, you understand how to make a model viral, you understand Instagram, you understand Twitter, you understand TikTok. All of these skills and abilities are directly limited to how good your clients are, how scalable are your models, how good can you relay that information, relay that skill into their content, into results and into views. Because the reality is that if you are good at traffic, if you are good at branding, if you are good at chatting, and if you are good at your job as an agency, the main thing you need to focus on in terms of scaling is signing the best level talent. Whether you're even a new agency owner or your established agency, the main thing that matters to this is consistent quality of talent coming in. Because at the end of the day, if your agency is dependent upon one creator or two creators and you don't have new clients coming in, you don't have consistent, you don't have predictable clients coming in, then you are limited. Your scalability is limited. Your business is limited. And if you're doing this business and if your goal is to scale to 100,000, 200, 300, 400,000 or more a month, your main focus should be what are the main things that I can do as the founder, as the owner that drives the highest success. And at the end of the day, signing top level clients, signing top level talent is going to lead to the most success in your agency. Because let's say, for example, 1 month you lose a client, which is normal, your Instagram gets shadow banned, whatever reason you have a slower month, well, these things are going to happen. Of course, this is part of business. You take losses, you take dips, you take hits, but what circumvents that, what means that you don't take a big dip, you still have your team, you still have everything running, is if new clients are coming in. And the biggest problem I see is agency owners that have success with 1 or 2 clients and then stop outreaching, stop going through the basics, stop going through what it actually took to sign your first client, your second or third client. So when it comes to client outreach and client acquisition is the main point of this video. I just wanted to touch a little bit on those other factors in terms of why everyone, from what I see, is in this kind of ceiling where they don't have enough clients, they don't have enough good quality clients, and why. When it comes to client acquisition, of course, it is now harder than it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, 2 years ago, you could get away with sending a few DMs, signing a client, and happy days. The problem is that now is agency owners say that client acquisition or cold outreach is dead. They say that it's impossible to sign talent and it's impossible to work with good models, but you don't truly understand, 1, the psychology behind it, but 2, really the amount of work that it takes. And if you don't have the right expectations, if you don't set the right expectations, the chances that you get the results necessary, you get the results consistently, is extremely low. At the end of the day, if you're watching this right now and you don't know consistently that you're going to sign 1 model a week, 2 models a week, 3 models a week, then you do have a major flaw with how you're running your agency. When it comes to client acquisition, there is 4 main avenues. There's obviously cold outreach, there's paid ads, warm outbound, and referrals. So referrals, and actually the 5th one you could argue is posting content inbounds essentially. So inbound, outbound, and content, and obviously ads. When it comes to outbound, that's going to be the main focus of this video. It's going to be cold outreach. The other topics I will go through in another video, such as personal branding, paid ads, and inbound leads, because those all come from building a brand, running ads, etc. So this focus of this video is going to be cold outreach. When it comes to cold outreach, one thing you have to do to make sure your expectations are set is actually understand the level of DMs that you are going to have to send, 1, to collect data, 2, to tweak your script, and free to actually sign a good client. You could send 100 DMs a day for a month and send 3,000 DMs for the month and sign one model potentially. Or you can send those 3,000 DMs in 1 week by sending 700 to 800 DMs per day. Or you can get it in 1 day. And obviously that's a whole other side of things. But my point I'm trying to make is the amount of DMs you send could either be spread up over 1 month, 3 months, 6 months if you're really lazy, or 1 week or 2 weeks. And if you collect data quicker, you can make tweaks quicker and get results quicker. What it is you actually want to do is start doing volume quicker. So you want to start sending more DMs quicker rather than sending 100 DMs a day across a whole month, and at the end of the month having one model to show for it that maybe isn't even the best, that maybe doesn't have the best potential, and bang, you're still limited by lack of talent. Because at the end of the day, let's say in this scenario, you already have clients and they've either already given you referrals or you don't have enough referrals. You want to sign more clients, but you can't sign them directly through cold outreach because you have pain, you have struggle, you aren't consistently signing them through cold outreach. You want to actually focus on the skill of cold outreach and actually understand what it actually is that you're trying to achieve with cold outreach. So first of all, when it comes to your actual strategy behind it, agency page, personal page, or some of your models pages, what works the best is if you have active creators, you have established Instagrams, 20k followers, 50k, 100k, 2, 3, 400k follower Instagram accounts. Outreaching from their accounts instantly gives you trust score because you're outreaching as a girl. You instantly have a testimonial essentially. You have social proof because you have a Instagram account that is actively going viral, actively getting results, and actively showing to other models and other creators that you are performing well. The other thing is obviously off your personal page. So if you have a good personal page, utilizing it, making sure your page actually looks decent, making sure that your first message actually gives a reason for a model to reply. And agency page, to be honest, in this point, I wouldn't even bother with agency page. Your chances that you're going to actually get a reply, your chances that you actually are going to get success is significantly low. So when it comes back to model pages and your personal pages, again, the main thing you want to focus on is one, how good does that page look? Is it a real page? Have you got consistent posts? Are you posting stories consistently on a daily basis so that when you are outreaching, there's obviously a story that the creator can engage with, can see results, can see proof of concept. One thing that works extremely well for my agency is story funnels. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen before. We post story funnels consistently and get multiple inbound leads simply just from posting story funnels. The reason why is that we actually do have results. We actually do provide a good service to our clients. I'll put a picture up in the YouTube video, for example. Some of our traffic for the day when I post that story funnel is about, one creator had about 280 paid subs. I think the other one had about 320, around those lines. And we get a lot of inbound leads from that. And also when we're doing outbound from that same Instagram page, we are getting creators that we outbound to, see our story, see social proof, see highlights, and then obviously want to work with an agency that can deliver success. Now, when it comes to your actual DMing, so the main thing in outreach that you want to focus on is solving the problem that you are trying to close a model or a client or a creator that you don't know. She doesn't know anything about you. She doesn't know anything about your agency. She doesn't know how you stand out. And also you're just trying to sell all of those things to her. Actually understanding what the client needs, actually understanding the psychology behind it, and not just hard selling. A lot of agencies I see, and I see it in the Instagram accounts that we manage, will just send paragraphs on paragraphs, or there'll be a model that will send voice note after voice note trying to hard close a client. The problem with this is obviously you're irrelevant to a stranger. At the end of the day, I'm irrelevant, you're irrelevant to a stranger. Until there's build up perceived value, until there's actual interest expressed, pitching something to someone that doesn't want to be pitched isn't going to just randomly work. And you sending 1,000 DMs, for example, and just sending the same bullshit, whether it's a long paragraph, and saying, hey, I've already sent DMs, it's not working. The issue isn't that cold outreach doesn't work. The issue is you. And the funny thing is with client acquisition and cold outreach in particular is everyone has these preconceived beliefs about how it doesn't work or how it doesn't work for them. And all of these things are based off experience. The reality actually is that for a lot of agencies or successful agencies, including myself, is that it worked amazingly well and it is actually working consistently on a weekly basis with consistent lead flow, consistent models being closed, and consistent data actually tracked. I'll go into the data bit in a second, but when it comes to your actual outreaching, so you want to focus on your messaging that actually can get some interest from a model. So intriguing a model. So when it comes to your initial outreach message, your follow-up messages, your main focus is literally getting a reply, getting your foot in the door. Once you've got your foot in the door, essentially, you want to focus on how you actually intrigue that model. How do you have something? What is your actual offer? How do you intrigue the model into actually being interested in what you have to offer, what services you have to offer? The first thing is obviously getting that reply. So when it comes to your initial outreach message, don't send a paragraph, send something that would get that reply. Again, that could get the model intrigued. It could be replying about her outfit, replying about a post she made. If you're going off your personal page, it could be something specific about her funnel, something specific about her, something specific about what you noticed, something specific that you want to send over. Again, the list can go on what specifically that you can use. The main focus is actually tracking the data and testing. So when you pick something, again, make sure it's something that isn't just copy paste standard what everyone else would use. We'll have a higher percent rate in terms of replying. In average, we get about a 10% reply rate. So for example, let's say we're sending 200 messages a day, we're getting 20 new leads per day, and then those new leads are going through our funnel, which then get booked onto a call, and then a certain percent of those close. So that's on average kind of numbers you want to be targeting. But in terms of once you actually choose a message, you want to stick to that message for at least 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, you want to track how many DMs were sent, how many replies did you receive, how many did you book on a call, and how many did you close? Because at the end of the day, those are the 4 main metrics. Once you actually have some data on how many messages you sent, how many replies you received, how many you booked on a call, how many actually show up and you were able to close, then you're able to tweak certain things. So for example, let's say you're getting replies and something isn't working in your funnel. Boom, you know to test a different split test in your funnel. Your funnel essentially means what are the back and forth messages, what is the angle you're going to go down in terms of how you're going to get her on a call. You have multiple options here, whether it's a free strategy call, whether it's a free value, whether it's just a closing call, like look, we can offer this, etc., whether it's to share more information. That start was mad. Whatever it is specifically, you have to split test that, because there isn't this one thing works and that's it. It really comes down to your profile. It comes down to what account you're DMing off. That's one of the main factors. And then what you actually say, that also boils down to, again, how your profile looks, which works specifically for that account, and then split testing. That's the thing with cold outreach, is setting your expectations right. It's going to take work. And if you accept the work it's going to take, you're going to see the results at the end of it. Because once you've tested your openers, once you've tested your funnels, once you have a working cold outreach system where you're able to send X amount of DMs and book X amount of calls and obviously close these clients on the calls, then you're able to scale it. And once you start scaling to 200 DMs per day, 300 DMs per day, 500, 600 and more, you're going to increase the volume of leads you have. So going from just, let's say, maybe 10 leads a week to 20, 30 leads a day, going from 20, 30 leads a day to 2 to 3 booked calls per week to 2 to 3 booked calls per day. And slowly, you start to increase the amount of calls you have, the amount of creators that you sign, just by testing correctly. What you need to ensure that you focus on is your actual, what's your outreach message, what's your funnel, what data are you tracking, and once you track that right data, how you actually make the right adjustments with your funnel, with your script, with what you do to get a client on a call, and obviously closing a model and offering your services, that's a whole nother video. But if you track the right data, make the right adjustments, and focus on the right targeting, it's really not that difficult in terms of closing good clients. The other side of outreach is the actual targeting. When it comes to closing models, you want to understand which is the type of model that I can actually deliver success with. You don't just want to target models from every country in the world, different niches, MILF, petite, dominant, submissive, all these other random different niches. You want to focus on one type of client that you know you can get success with. That might be models you already have, similar countries to where you're from, or also just models that you know you can guarantee success with. Because at the end of the day, the targeting of the type of model you work with is essential to the actual success you're able to deliver to a model and deliver to any of your other clients. And also to put into kind of context what numbers you're working with how many actual clients there are, or how many, actually models there are on OnlyFans in general. Because again, a lot of people have limiting beliefs that think that it's impossible to sign clients. There's over 4 million OnlyFans creators. 4 million, and probably 60 to 80% of them have an Instagram account. So thinking that it's wash, DM'd every girl, you're finding the same leads, is simply down to you and your experience. And if you actually peel the layers back, really analyze it from a bird's eye view on how much actual work you're putting with outreach. Do you have team members on outreach? Do you have hires that are literally dedicated to outreach and appointment setters that are dedicated to closing models for you? Because if you don't, the results that you have when it comes to signing talent consistently are a reflection of your inputs, are a reflection of what is the work you're actually putting in. And at the end of the day, if you were doing enough, if you were doing enough DMs, if you were doing enough in terms of testing, you would have the results to show. If you're putting in that effort, you're putting in that time, you're tracking what is necessary, then all of a sudden you have actually enough to have results, to get consistent results, and to scale that up further. And that's really as simply as it is. There are a bit more intricate details and intricate things when it comes to your targeting, the type of leads that you're finding, the type of leads that you're closing, and the specific things within your framework, within your funnel that you can be testing. But in terms of the general basis of how you get consistent results with client acquisition in OFM, it comes down to your inputs. And if you're doing the right inputs, you're tracking the right data, you're doing your part, your job, the results will follow. I hope you boys enjoyed that video. I hope that helps any problems you have when it comes to signing clients and client acquisition and cold outreach. If you want to know more, if you have any questions, if you want me to audit your Instagram, audit your current funnels in terms of outreach, pop my message on my Telegram channel or to me personally on Telegram, or you can DM me on Instagram. Catch you boys in the next video.